Did you know there was once a man who was taken alive into the heavens and saw with his own eyes the blazing face of God? This isn't a parable or poetic vision. It's a real account, hidden for centuries, nearly forgotten until now. What he witnessed tears the veil between this world and the next, revealing ancient secrets, the punishment of fallen angels, and the layered realms of paradise. Truths so powerful they could forever change how you see heaven and the judgment that's coming. It began on an ordinary day. Enoch was alone in his home, resting quietly, when suddenly he fell into a deep, otherworldly sleep. While his body lay still, two radiant beings appeared before him. They weren't men, though they looked somewhat human. Their faces burned brighter than the sun, their eyes flickered like living fire, and from their mouths flowed words like flames. Their robes shimmered in deep purples, their wings gleamed brighter than gold, and their hands glowed white as snow. They stood silently at his side and called him by name. Startled awake, Enoch stared at them with both awe and fear. His face trembled before their overwhelming presence. But they said, "Do not be afraid. The Eternal One has sent us to take you into the heavens today. Before we go, you must tell your children and your household everything they need to do in your absence. No one must search for you until the Lord Himself returns you." Without hesitation, Enoch obeyed. He gathered his family and shared all the divine instructions the heavenly messengers had revealed. Then the angels lifted him up, soaring into the sky on their wings, carrying him above the clouds into the first heaven. From there, Enoch saw the suspended ether, vast and glowing, and an ocean far greater than any on earth. He was shown celestial elders, ancient ones who guard the movements of the stars, along with 200 angels who oversee the cosmos. These angels fly in formation, orbiting the celestial mariners of the skies. He saw the storerooms of snow, fiercely guarded by powerful angels, and the clouds where nature's elements are born and return. He showed him the dwelling place of dew, glistening like olive oil and fragrant like 1,000 blooming gardens. Each treasure was watched over by appointed angels who opened and sealed them at God's command. Then Enoch was taken to the second heaven, a realm swallowed in darkness, darker than anything on earth. In this eerie void, he saw imprisoned souls, suspended in agony, awaiting a judgment they could not escape. Around them were shadowed angels, darker than night itself, weeping and groaning in endless torment. Troubled, Enoch asked who they were. His guides answered, "These are the ones who rebelled against the Most High. They chose their own path, broke away with their prince, and for that they are chained until the sentence of the Almighty is carried out." Without pause, the angels led him into the third heaven, and what he saw there was unlike anything he had imagined. Before him stretched a fertile land overflowing with life. Blossoming trees radiated sweetness and fragrance, and their fruit seemed to carry the very scent of paradise. At the center stood the tree of life, where the Lord Himself rests when He enters Eden. Nothing in all creation compares to this tree. It radiated with gold, crimson, and living fire. Its fruits were diverse, and its roots reached the edge of the world in a garden untouched by decay. From this sacred place flowed two springs, one of milk and honey, the other of oil and wine. These streams split into 4 rivers that flow silently through the earth, renewing creation endlessly. No tree in that place is barren, and every inch of it is blessed. 200 radiant angels guarded the garden, singing unceasing praise to the Creator.
Then they carried him to the far north, and there Enoch was shown a realm of horror. The air itself felt cursed. Shadows clung like chains. Torches flickered dimly, and a dull fire burned without light. A river of flame ran through ice and frost and thirst. Groans echoed. Chains clanged. Ruthless angels stood guard, wielding instruments of merciless judgment. "Woe is me!" Enoch cried out, stricken with dread. The angels said, "This is the place prepared for those who dishonor the name of God. Those who defiled nature, practiced forbidden magic, used sorcery, walked proudly in evil, spread lies, stole, slandered, envied, hated, fornicated, murdered. The ones who robbed souls, oppressed the poor, and fattened themselves on injustice. This is their eternal inheritance." And before I take you further on this journey into the heavens, I need to ask you something important. If this message is stirring your soul, don't leave without subscribing and turning on notifications. That way you won't miss the next revelation, one that could awaken something eternal in you. Enoch was then carried into the fourth heaven, where the celestial dance of the sun and moon was unveiled before his eyes. He saw their luminous paths, the wheels that carried them across the heavens, propelled by invisible winds moving with a speed beyond anything known on earth. The sun, brilliant beyond description, was accompanied by 4 colossal stars, each one trailed by 1,000 more. To its right and left, 4 other stars moved in tandem, forming a celestial procession of 8,000 radiant bodies, emerging together in harmony. By day, 15 legions of angels tended to the sun's journey. By night, 1,000 winged beings moved ahead of it toward the flaming furnace that kindled its fire. These angels were the igniters, the ones who prepared it to burn, lighting its path as the command of God echoed through the heavens. Enoch watched in silent awe as the rhythm of light was orchestrated by unseen hands. Then he was taken to the 5th heaven, and what he found there was haunting. Mighty beings called the Grigori stood there, countless in number. They had the shape of men, but were far larger than giants. Their faces were drawn, their expressions void, their mouths closed in eternal silence. The whole heaven felt still, hushed, as if time itself refused to move. Not a single voice lifted in worship, not a single song was heard. Burdened by what he saw, he asked, "Why are they so silent? Why do they not praise like the others?" And he was told, "These are the watchers who turned away from the light of God. Their leader, Satan, led them into rebellion. They descended from the heights of glory and broke their vows on Mount Hermon. There they saw the daughters of men and took them as wives. They defiled the earth with their corruption, and from them came giants, violent men who brought chaos to the world. For this, judgment fell upon them. Now they weep for their fallen brothers and wait for the great day of the Lord." Without delay, the angels lifted Enoch higher still, into the 6th heaven. Here, everything radiated in even greater brilliance. He saw 7 choirs of angels, glorious and majestic. Their faces gleamed like the sun. There was no distinction in their appearance, no pride, no disorder. Each one was clothed in the same radiant garments, and their movements were graceful, united, filled with purpose. These were the angelic scholars of the cosmos. They studied the motion of the stars, the transformations of the moon, the revolutions of the sun, and the order of creation itself. When they witnessed evil, they responded not with wrath, but with song, songs of correction, wisdom, and law. Their voices were sweet, yet thunderous, filled with power and mercy. Among them were the archangels, beings of authority who oversaw all things in heaven and earth. They marked the years, the seasons, the rivers, the oceans, the harvests, and the very grass that feeds every living soul.
Enoch also saw among them angels who wrote, scribes of heaven who documented the deeds of men and the courses of their lives before the face of the Lord. In the heart of this realm were strange and wondrous beings, 6 phoenixes, 6 cherubim, and 6 winged creatures, singing in perfect unity. Their song could not be captured by any earthly language. It was joy in its purest form. Their mission? To worship unceasingly at the footstool of the Almighty. Then Enoch was brought into the 7th heaven, and what he witnessed there altered the very fabric of his soul. An ocean of light consumed him. Armies of burning archangels stood in flawless ranks, dominions, powers, cherubim, seraphim, thrones, and beings with countless eyes. 9 celestial orders, glowing like fire, filled the sky. The stations of light stretched beyond number, and Enoch trembled at the sheer magnitude of glory.
His body quaked as though it might come undone. But the angels comforted him, saying, "Do not fear, Enoch. The Lord has chosen to show you things even greater than these." And so they took him further, to the place where the Most High himself dwells. They entered the 10th heaven, called Arovat in the ancient tongue. This is the dwelling place of God. Here heavenly hosts rise through 10 levels of glory, ascending according to their rank to bow before him and return singing with radiant joy. They serve the Lord in everlasting light, never weary, never fading. But before he saw the throne, Enoch was also shown the 8th heaven, Muon, the realm that governs the seasons, droughts, and rains, where the 12 constellations of the zodiac reside. Then came the 9th, Kokavim, the domain where these constellations make their home, circling the earth and ruling the cycles of time. And finally Enoch stood once again in the 10th heaven. There he saw what no mortal had ever seen and lived. He beheld the face of the Lord. It burned like molten iron, alive with sparks and living flame. Enoch collapsed, unable to bear the overwhelming majesty. He could not speak. He could not move. In that moment he thought, "Who am I to see the face of the indescribable one? To hear his many-voiced decree? To stand before a throne not made by human hands, surrounded by seraphim whose songs never cease?" Flat on his face, Enoch heard the voice of the Lord. "Rise. Do not fear. Stand before me for all eternity." Then the archangel Michael approached, lifted him up, and brought him to stand before the throne. And the Lord said to his heavenly council, "Let Enoch remain before me forever." And all the glorious ones bowed low and answered, "Let it be done according to your word." Then the Lord spoke again, "Remove from Enoch his garments of the earth, anoint him with my sacred oil, and clothe him in the robes of my glory." At once Michael obeyed. He anointed Enoch with a luminous balm, brighter than light itself. Its fragrance was like sweet dew, and its radiance like the flash of the morning sun. And in that instant, Enoch looked at his own form and realized he was no longer what he had been. He was no longer bound to the dust. He now shone like the glorious ones, transformed by eternity. He had become like those who dwell forever before the face of the Most High. But before his transformation was completed, the Lord allowed Enoch to see what few eyes had ever beheld, the deep mysteries of creation. He was shown how time bends and flows beneath the authority of God. He saw how every soul is weighed on scales of truth, and how the names of the righteous are inscribed in living books, books that sing in harmony, their voices echoing through the heavens. He witnessed how even the smallest of human actions ripple across eternity, how every choice carries a sound, a consequence, a song that is heard in places far beyond the stars. And he was shown the judgments to come. The great day of the Lord, he saw it in vision, a day of fire, a day of weeping, a day when all things are unveiled. Mountains will quake, skies will split open.
Ancient decrees will be fulfilled by angels of flame, and the souls of all mankind will be called forward, face to face with truth. Those who mocked the righteous, who trampled the poor, who devoured the weak, will see their deeds displayed like shattered mirrors. No mask will remain, no shadow will hide them. And yet, he also saw the reward of the humble, the lifting up of those who wept in silence, the honor given to those who chose the narrow road when the world rushed toward ruin. He was told the names of the fallen ones, their ranks, their corruptions, and the darkness they spread across the earth. He saw the hidden covenants, the forbidden unions between heaven and the abyss, and he learned of a plan of redemption written before the beginning of time, a plan designed by the Eternal One to restore everything that had been defiled. And among all these visions, Enoch was entrusted with a mission to warn humanity,
to speak of what lies ahead, to awaken hearts to what they cannot yet see, to remind them that the visible world is temporary, but the invisible, that is what endures. He was to proclaim that there are more heavens than the eye can count, more judgments than the heart can bear, and a glory so immense, so blinding, that even the seraphim tremble in its presence. And when his mission was done, the Lord did not return him as he was. Enoch was no longer just a man. He had become a living testimony, a witness to the power of God to lift the lowly from the dust and seat them among the princes of heaven. His name was sealed in the eternal records, and from that moment on, he walked the heavens, watching, interceding, awaiting the final fulfillment of all things. This ancient account, preserved in the forgotten texts of the Book of Enoch, has been rejected, ignored, and silenced for generations. Why? Because it reveals what many fear to face. It exposes the fallen. It unveils a God who not only loves, but judges, purifies, and transforms. And many are simply not ready for that kind of truth. But you made it this far. That means something. That means your soul is still awake. That something deep inside you is still searching, still listening. You were meant to hear this story. You didn't find it by chance. Because in the stillness of your spirit, you can feel it. There is more. There is something beyond this world, pulsing just behind the veil. The soul knows when eternity is speaking, and right now, it is. So if this story moved you, if it stirred something you thought was long buried, I want to ask you something from the heart. Leave a comment, not for me, not even for the channel, but as a sign that you're still burning with light, that you still believe. Your words might reach someone else, someone on the edge, someone who needs to remember that heaven is still open for those who dare to seek it with all their heart. Write, share, keep the flame alive. Let others wake up. Let them see what you've seen.